You got like referral partners or power partners, J. Abraham words, right?
Yeah.
Some guy that had the clients but didn't have the fulfillment. You're like, I got you, let's boogie. He had happier clients, you're getting results, but you're working 14 hours a day, everything was stressed, freaked out. And it sounds like you went through a transformation, but bring us back to where you were when it was like you and 100 clients. Was it just you and like 2 or 3 people? Or like
I had a team of virtual assistants of about 30 ish, and I didn't know anything about hiring and management. So like, I can't even tell you just like how many horrible mistakes I made at that point. But like every aspect of that business was chaotic. Let's just say that. But yeah, it was kind of just like, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this. Even if you don't have 100 clients, you can have this with 5 or 10. But it was like putting out fires, just like constantly. Like I must have checked my email 50 or 100 times a day. Like
you just keep it open.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And like, you're always like, oh, it's been 10 minutes, checking it. And you feel like you have to respond to everything. And it was, I very rarely get emails from my clients at all anymore. And that's kind of amazing when you think about that.
So was this client conversation or overabundance of client conversations, right? Was that because of like there was problems with the product and delivery? Or is that because like the team kept kicking stuff to you? Or is that because you didn't set the tone correctly with the clients? Like you didn't say, hey, we're going to meet once a month and that's it. Like what was the big reason why?
Yes, and yes to all your things. I think a lot of people doing Facebook ads, because I do a lot of stuff with Facebook ads now, can relate to this. Is I just assumed in the beginning, if I made people money back, that everything would take care of itself. Like you paid me 1,000 and you were getting 10,000. And I told you this story in our little preamble, but it's a really great example for understanding this, because we also build intangible things for people. So where I'm at in Mexico now, they're building a bunch of beachfront houses. There's a lot of like doctors and lawyer types in this kind of area.
Yep.
And there was a guy, my neighbor, and I said to him, oh, you bought this house. How was that? And he decided to go on this tirade and said, it was the worst fucking experience of my life. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, first of all, I saw it online, so I bought it sight unseen. And so I just wired like 220 grand or something like that to some guy in Mexico, and I couldn't reach anybody for 2 weeks. Nobody would like return my phone call. And then eventually they sent me a contract, and of course it's in Spanish. I don't speak any Spanish, so I got to get a translator before I can even understand the legal. And for 6 months I kept trying to get updates and nothing happened. And then eventually I came down and my house was built perfectly. And so when you think about that, on the results and delivery, they actually did a perfect job.
Yep.
But it took me a lot of years to realize 50% of what we do is actually the communication. It was that part that was like so lacking.
This little chasm of unknown is where like our clients freak the F out so much. This is like a constant thing across all client and customer relationships. Like I paid you money, and then you have this like regret, like fear, and then oh, we got it happy and it's done. And it's so strong that like Uber is like, yo, we are going to update you by the second as soon as you order something. Amazon is like, you are going to get notifications every 15 minutes. Because
you really want.
Go on.
I was just going to say, Amazon's a perfect example. Like it's in the box, we're shipping it. It's on its way. Here's the tracking. Like they let you know where it's going on the journey.
And way back in the day, I remember my grandfather talking about he would order stuff from catalog, send money as a kid, like $2 for a hat or whatever it was, and then nothing for 6 weeks. And you check the mailbox every single day, right? And the relationship has evolved to, as soon as I have spent money with you, I am expecting some kind of deliverable. Either it's homework, either it's an update, some kind of thingy. As soon as we implemented that into our agency and our deliverables onboarding docs, our clients calmed down. Like we had like 36 to 48 hours, like it's going to be okay. Fill out your form. No big deal. When we didn't have that, I had people pay, then message me 30 minutes later saying, where's the stuff? I'm like, it's a campaign. I'm building it out. Like it said, but like they didn't know. Right. So you crossed that chasm of uncertainty. Did you use an onboarding form or survey to fill that out? Or like, how did you deal with this little break in that client narrative?
Well, for us, like part of what we do, and this kind of gets into a deeper concept of retention. Like obviously I found there's 4 things with retentions. Obviously results are part of it, but I used to think if you just got results, everything, like if you get the 10 ROS, a ROAS on Facebook ads, you're going to stay forever. And then there's nothing worse than a client fires you after you're getting them 10-1 on your money. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, like what just happened?
And then you have the most awkward testimonial ever of like, thanks, I made $1 million. Why doesn't he work with you anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The second thing is I never understood how important expectations are, and we can do a deeper dive on this later, but there's 4 things that you want to communicate in terms of expectations: results, cost, time, and how much we're going to talk. Those 4 things are like those 4 things are like the whole basis of it. When I started implementing that, like people actually got a better idea of what we were actually doing. And also when you set expectations, like you get to set where the bar is. Like a lawyer told me this really simply, where he said, if I tell a client I'm going to get him 15 grand and I get 10, then I'm the biggest idiot in the world.
Yep.
But if I tell him I'm going to get 10 and we get 15, they're like, my lawyer's a hero. I was only supposed to get 10 and we got 15. This has probably been the biggest one is we've designed our agency, like all our communications are designed in advance. So like this has like been a huge part of our retention, which is firstly, like the minute you sign up, like one of the things we do is I send an edible arrangement, which has like a salted caramel apple, some cookies, sometimes some chocolate covered strawberries. And they're like, for real, the fastest company I've ever seen in the world. They'll be there in like 2-3 hours from the time you sign a client.
Nice.
And we have a customized welcome note. So it takes me like 5 minutes. I spend like $50. But they've had all these bad experiences with marketing agencies, and they're worried that you just disappeared to an island in Cuba or whatever, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and they're like, "Who's this?" We also drop in a mail welcome package, and that takes like a week to get there. So even though we do it at the same time, it feels like 2 separate communications. And then we intentionally reach out, and I like to compare it to, if you're thinking about the house analogy, imagine you got a phone call from the owner, and he says, "Welcome. I'm so excited to have you. Like, I can't believe you bought this house. We're going to do an amazing job. Just want to let you know you're like so welcome." And then a week later, they say, "Hey, this is your plot of land." They send you a little video and say, "It doesn't look like much right now, but your house is going to go right here and the pool's going to go over there." And then another couple of weeks go by and they say, "Hey, we just poured the foundation. You can start to see a little bit." And then they say there's a frame and every little update. And when you do those things, it took me a long time to realize that meetings requests are a function of they don't trust you. And it's not necessarily you, it's just they've had so many bad experiences. And so the more you play offense on that communication, there's nothing for them to ask you about. So the meetings just go away.